So when I was first searching for the truth or for the nature of reality, in fact I didn't know what it was exactly that I was searching for. I can see now that in a way I was looking for an escape from this very human experience, because it was intense. It was at times very overwhelming and felt too much to handle, too much for me to carry. Because of course I had the assumption at the time that I needed to carry it, that I needed to do it, that I needed to know how to be a human, a person in this world. I assumed that I needed to be someone, that I needed to understand what kind of a person I am. And in that search for some way out, I didn't want to feel the intensity of this human experience. I was imagining that when I find that way or that truth or whatever it was, that there would be some rest, physically, emotionally, mentally. After a while I saw the delusion of that. That in fact the real rest is not in escaping this human experience, but in including it, acknowledging it, meeting it just the way it is. But it is very common, as far as I see, with many people, that we're trying to deny our human experience, to escape it, to go beyond it, to the divine, to our true selves. We're saying, well, this isn't my true self. The true self is beyond this. Now, of course, in a way it's true, because when we're believing that I am limited to the one that we believe is inside this body, and only that, then it's true that that's only a part of the picture. And when you believe that you're limited to the one in the body, then there can be a sense of wanting to be free, wanting to go beyond this, because you always have a sense of who you really are, that divinity that you really are. So it does tend to feel like a prison to be located inside here, looking out of these eyes, trapped almost inside this body. So then we find some way of acknowledging the divinity that we really are, our true self, that awareness of it all, the seeing of it all, the knowing of it all. And many people seem to get stuck there, as I did for quite a while. Identifying with this awareness that I am, at first felt great freedom, in contrast to the limitation of believing that I'm in here. And I say, well, I'm unlimited, I'm free. And it's true, I am. But it's not just that I am that awareness. It's not just that I am floating beyond it all. Because acknowledging and identifying with that, there comes a denial of this human experience. Mentally, it is very difficult to assimilate both sides. The thinking wants to land on one side or the other and say, well, I am this awareness, I'm beyond it all. Or, I'm just this human experience, I'm just this human person limited and located here. But to acknowledge that I am both simultaneously is mind-blowing. This mind is actually limited and cannot understand how it could be both. How I could be absolutely divine, absolutely free, unlocated, unlimited, and yet also experiencing this very human experience, the experience of limitations. This body is limited to certain human laws. It can't fly, it can't walk through walls. It seems, dependent on food and water and sleep, and it loves connection. It does seem to get older. It does seem to fall apart and to deteriorate. And it does seem to die. And yet, in knowing that I am not limited to this body, there's a knowing of this human experience, of feeling it, sensing it, including it completely just the way it is, not needing it to be anything divine, anything special, and yet paradoxically knowing that this human experience is in fact the divinity that I am playing at being human, which makes this human absolutely divine also. And so often we're brought up in various religions or belief systems where we believe that the human experience is in some way bad or wrong or faulty in some way. And we're constantly trying to fix it and improve it. And we're constantly holding on to this belief that if only I could fix all the problems that I think I have, then my life will be perfect. Then I will be divine. Then I will be free. Then I will know the truth. Then I will come to rest. But the nature of this human is that it is limited. It's still the divine playing at being limited, so that it could know itself in this way and in that way. So that it can experience itself growing and learning and discovering and exploring itself. So that it can experience itself in location, in limitation, in time and space, in sensation, in thought. And who I really am is aware of it all, knowing that it is all here. And who I am doesn't need any of it to be any different. It includes everything just the way it is. Unconditionally loves it just the way it is. Even if it doesn't fit into my ideas about how it should be, even if it's not perfect according to my idea of perfection, it's still included in and as who I am. And this paradox just can't be understood mentally. It's two completely contrasting things happening simultaneously. So, to expect thought to understand this paradox is often where the problem lies. When we're trying to discover the truth, we're trying to align our sense of what is true with our human experience. We're trying to fit these two things together. And they just don't fit in our mental understanding. because perhaps you have a sense of that unlimited freedom that you are. But you don't always experience that in your human experience. You might have the occasional glimpse of it, or the occasional sweet experience of expansion, but a lot of your experience might well be an experience of just ordinary everyday life, of interactions and, things happening, work, or tidying your house, or children, or parents, or whatever. Stuff, human stuff. It's not some kind of beautiful, special experience all the time. It might just be very ordinary in comparison to your beliefs about how it should be or could be. But in fact, it's only, of course, a belief that even calls it ordinary, or not beautiful, or not divine, or not it. But actually, every human experience is it, simply because it's here, because it's happening. It is life itself, awareness itself, aware of whatever experience is filling it. It's the emptiness filled by whatever is here in this moment. Absolutely full, in fact overflowing with whatever is here. And then it is in fact the freedom for it to not have to fit into your ideas about how it should be. It doesn't have to be what you think it should be. That in fact is the beauty of life. That it doesn't have to fit into any box. It doesn't fit into any box, no matter how hard you try to fit it in. Life is too spontaneous, too mysterious. It can't be understood. And yet somehow it is known in a way that, as I said, it's mind-blowing. When you see that it can't be mentally understood or fit into a neat little belief system, there can be a relaxation when you stop trying to align these two sides of the paradox and just see, well, this is how it is. I am that awareness of it all, and yet here is this very human existence, and he or she is absolutely enough as he or she is. With all the weird and wonderful experiences that you experience, with all the apparent problems and issues and dramas and old conditioning, with all the uncomfortable sensations that appear here sometimes, with the busy mind, with the emotions, everything, just the way it is. Who you really are is aware of it all. Simply knowing it, seeing it. Just the way it is.